Hello, welcome to Teaching with Zoom, put together for you by Technology Integrated Learning in the Division of Learning and Teaching Support and Innovation. My name is Nadia. I'm a learning experience designer in TIL.
My name is Kayla. I'm also in TIL and I work on the support team.
For this workshop, we have the following learning outcomes. We want you to be able to recognize the different teaching scenarios for the Zoom sessions, identify the different purposes for Zoom, describe 4 interactive models for Zoom sessions, and apply the interactive models to your own courses. To get started, please register on uvic.zoom.us. We encourage you to get your own UVic Enterprise account. You can also explore the different resources that we have for you on our website, onlineacademiccommunity.uvic.ca Zoom. All kinds of questions and answers and different videos and resources are available for you there. If you have any kind of specific questions, please connect with your summer consultant. Send an email to ltsi2020@uvic.ca. And you can also email us, helpdesk@uvic.ca, with any kind of technical questions. In the beginning, we would like to invite you to think about what Zoom can be used for. Take a few seconds to reflect on this question. Well, Zoom can be used for many different things. Even if you're going to be using course spaces completely for your teaching needs, and everything will be online in course spaces, and you're going to be using the asynchronous approach to online learning and teaching, we still encourage you to use Zoom for your introduction. You can meet with your students in week 1 and introduce yourself, introduce the course. You can also schedule regular office hours and meet with your students, say, weekly. You can keep meeting with them and lecturing online. You can invite guest speakers. You can create opportunities for student presentations in live sessions, which could be a great option for presenting their projects during the final week of class. You can flip the classroom. You can put everything onto course spaces, all kinds of materials and activities, and ask your students to work through those before they come to the live session, during which you can work on their questions and clarify the areas that need to be clarified. You can meet with your students to review an exam or a particularly difficult assignment. You can encourage your students to use Zoom to meet online for study groups.
There are a number of different ways that you can use Zoom. You can use it to present content, like sharing files and pages on the screen, like we're doing now. You can use it to check for understanding by using the reactions and polls features. You can use it to communicate with your students through both voice and video and a typed chat feature. And you can use it to engage in activities through a whiteboard and through breakout rooms. To share your content, this is a screenshot of what Zoom will look like when you are the host of the meeting. You'll notice there are more icons at the bottom than there are if you are a participant in the meeting, and one of these icons is the Share Screen button. That will be what you click on to share your screen. Once you click on it, you will get a pop-up window like this with a number of different things you can choose for what you would like to share, what content you'd like to share. I usually recommend just sharing your screen rather than an application or something specific like that. I like it better because it's easier to keep track of what the participants can see, because they just see the exact same thing that you see. You'll see this is also where you share a whiteboard. It's in that same share screen button that I just showed you. You just select whiteboard on this pop-up window. Also at the bottom here, I've highlighted a share computer sound checkbox. You'll want to check this if you're showing something that has sound like a video. If you would like to record the session, you can click the record button at the bottom of your screen. An audio announcement will let students know that the session is being recorded, and they'll receive a little pop-up where they can leave the session if they don't want to be recorded. Once you stop recording, an audio announcement will also let them know that the session is no longer being recorded. Participants can also see this record button. If your students ask you about it, they can go ahead and click it. If you're a participant and you click the record button, all you get is a little pop-up window that says participant recording is disabled. While you're recording the session, this is what it looks like. You'll notice here there is a pause and stop button. If you would like to pause the recording, if you pause it and then start it again, you'll get one long video file. If you stop the recording and then start a new recording later, you'll get two video files. So pausing continues the video, stopping ends it and starts a new file. When you've recorded a session and you stop it, when you end the meeting and close the session, you'll get a save as dialog box that pops up, and it's just like a save as box you would get for a Word document or anything else. You just give it a name, decide where you want to save it, and it saves as an MP4 file. You can then post it to CourseSpaces using Kaltura. When you're sharing your content with students, you can check for understanding using the reactions. At the bottom of the screen, the students have a little smiley face icon that they can click to give an applause or a thumbs up reaction. Or if they click the participants panel, they have a number of other reactions, including a more panel here. They can say things like yes, no, go slower, go faster. Under more, there are things like I'm away, or I would like to take a break, or something like that. This is great as a sort of impromptu poll, where you can just ask a quick question like, does everyone understand that? Or am I going too slow or too fast for everyone? And your students can vote, and you as the instructor can see a number above each of these responses, and it can provide a way for you to kind of gauge how the class is feeling about whatever it is that you are talking about. Then there's the more formal polls feature. To use this, you need to be the owner of the meeting, which means you need to have created the meeting. And if you have, you'll see at the bottom the polling button. Go ahead and click that button, and you'll get a pop-up window like this. You can click Add a Question, and you'll be taken to the Zoom website where you can give a title for the question, decide whether it is anonymous or not. You can type in the question and type in as many of the answers that you would like. You need at least two, but you can put in quite a few if you'd like to. When you are done, go ahead and click Save. And it will take you back to your Zoom meeting, and the poll will be there waiting for you. Because you don't actually need participants in the session to create the poll, and because it sits there and waits for you until you launch it, you can actually set your polls up before you have your class, so in advance. You would just come into the class by yourself before class starts, set up all of your polls, and then later when you come back into the class, they'll be here waiting for you, and you can select a poll and click Launch Poll. As I mentioned before, you can use Zoom to communicate through voice and video. You can also use the chat feature, which there is a screenshot here. So students who might not have a camera or audio, or might not have a good internet connection, can still participate using the chat. And you can engage in learning activities, including annotating on a whiteboard and using breakout rooms. The whiteboard I showed before is you hit the share screen button and then you select whiteboard. There are a number of options that students and instructors can use to annotate on the whiteboard, including text, a drawing tool, a number of stamps like these hearts and check boxes or check marks here. There are arrows so students can point at things and ask questions. They can change the color that they want to use, and they can save the whiteboard as well, and the instructor can save the whiteboard. It is often nice to turn on screen sharing for students and put them into breakout rooms and let them use the whiteboards to talk to each other and collaborate and brainstorm on that content that you've just covered. As for breakout rooms, the way that you set up breakout rooms is if you are the host, you can click the More button and then click Breakout Rooms. You'll get a pop-up window like this. It won't be exactly like this. It will have your participants, however many participants you have, however many rooms you want to split them into, and how many participants per room that will give you. For example, if you have 40 students and you change this to 4 rooms, it will tell you that's 10 participants per room. If you change it to 10 rooms, it will tell you that's 4 participants per room. You can choose to set them up either automatically or manually. We usually recommend automatically just because it is faster. If you sort students into rooms automatically, you can still manually move them around between rooms, or you can resort the rooms and reshuffle them if you'd like. Once you're ready, hit Create Breakout Rooms. And you will get the breakout rooms here. You'll notice there are a number of options listed here, including a countdown after closing the breakout rooms, which we do recommend setting so that students have time to wrap up their conversation. Usually the defaults for the options are fine. When you open the breakout rooms, using this button, Open All Rooms, it will look like this. Each breakout room will have a name, and underneath will be the names of the students who are in the breakout rooms. Once students have joined the room, their little circle will go green here. You, the instructor, can then join any breakout room by clicking the Join link next to the title of the breakout room. You can also broadcast a message to all of the rooms using this little Broadcast a Message to All button on the bottom. If you click that, you can type in a message and it will send it to all of the breakout rooms, and you can say something like, remember to save your whiteboards, we'll be wrapping up soon, or 3 more minutes, or anything you would like to say. Nadia, I'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, so all these features that Zoom lets you try and do in your live sessions are great, and they will help you communicate, engage students in your online classes. But we do recommend having a specific agenda or a plan for your Zoom meetings or for your Zoom classes. Contact North designed and suggested 4 very distinct models for your Zoom meetings: balanced interactive model, student-led seminar model, video interactive model, and content-focused model. Let's have a look at all of them. You will notice that starting with an icebreaker is something common for all 4, but in the balanced interactive model, after the icebreaker, you will offer your students a mini lecture for about 10 minutes, then spend some time checking for understanding. You may want to put your students into breakout rooms and have them work on a particular task for about 15 minutes or so. And you can definitely adjust the times suggested here. Then you can bring your students back into the main room to debrief, answer their questions, and sum it up and end your lesson. Student-led seminars is also a helpful model. Students would be presenting their work for about 10 minutes, taking turns. You will have a group discussion after each presentation. At the end, you can poll students or use any kind of reactions to check for understanding, and then again, sum it up. The other 2 models are video interactive and content focused. Again, starting with an icebreaker, and then in the video interactive model, if you have a longer video to show to your students, you can split it into smaller parts and say, play your video, start playing your video for about 10 minutes, then stop and check for understanding. And here you can use a discussion, or you can use reactions to check for understanding. Then you would continue playing your video. Again, stop, make sure that students' questions are answered. Finish playing the video and wrap it up with the questions and answers discussion or some kind of a poll, and that will conclude your Zoom session. In the content-focused model, again, starting with an icebreaker, then giving a mini lecture for 10 minutes, stopping and taking students' questions, making sure you answer all of those, continuing with the mini lecture, again, stopping, taking questions, finishing your lecture, and at the end you can have a longer Q&A session, or also use some kind of a poll that you can set it up in advance, and then you will finish your class summarizing the key points. So these four models are all helpful. We encourage you to think about what you can use, and you will probably be using all four of them at some point, depending on what the needs of your class are. So I think this is it that we wanted to show you. We encourage you to, again, explore our resources and think about how Zoom can be used to enhance your teaching. Thank you.